Peace be with you. Dear friends, welcome to Living Flame Podcast website and Facebook group. Gospel reflections for Monday of the 29th week in the ordinary time. Gospel according to St. Luke chapter 12 verses 13 to 21. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to share the inheritance with me." Most probably, this man approached Jesus with an expectation that he would be able to solve their family disputes or family problems. This guy must be having a problem with his brother, and most probably they lost their father, and consequently the question comes here about sharing the inheritance. But Jesus replied to him, "Friend, who appointed me as your judge and arbitrator?" Why did Jesus say that? He said that because Jesus does not want to involve in family affairs. But then he has a very powerful, strong statement to the crowd. Take care to guard against all greed, for though one may be rich, one's life does not consist of possessions. Dear friends, a wonderful statement on the part of Jesus that tells us that we are actually not in control in spite of having material wealth or money. You can just imagine we cannot control our age. We cannot control certain sicknesses that we may have. We cannot control our destiny. We do not know what is going to happen tomorrow or day after tomorrow. And consequently, take care to guard against all kind of greed. Now, greed is it is in human heart. There's always a tendency to have more, to accumulate more, to look for more, to add more material wealth. This is a tendency that human beings have normally. But then Jesus warns. Jesus' warning is not against those people who work hard to have some kind of wealth in their life. But then all kind of greed, for that matter, is very dangerous because we lose our focus. Now, ultimately, it is important to keep in mind what matters in our life. Material possessions, money, wealth is very important to have a comfortable life. But that is not everything. Ultimately, it is actually the contentment one feels in one's heart. That's the most important thing. And that is why Jesus told them a parable. There was a rich man whose land produced a bountiful harvest. He asked himself, "What shall I do? For I do not have space to store my harvest." And he said, "This is what I shall do. I shall tear down my barns and build larger ones. There I shall store all my grain and other goods. And I shall say to myself, now as for you, you have so many good things stored up for many years. Rest, eat, drink, be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this night your life will be demanded of you." Now this happens to many, many people in the world. Ultimately, what is the important message that we can get? The message is that we have to store up treasures in heaven. And how can we store up treasures in heaven? By our good deeds, by being generous, by being helpful to those people who are suffering, homeless, poor. So this is how we can do a little bit to store up treasures in heaven. Every good deed that we do will be rewarded. That's why Jesus said on one occasion that even if you give a glass of water to one of these in my name, you will be rewarded in heaven. So your reward is assured. So that sort of reward we need to look for. But then one thing we have to keep in mind, that Jesus was never against the rich people. Jesus was against human greed. That is why he told on another occasion that you cannot serve God and mammon. You cannot serve God and money. That's why you will either hate one and love the other. Very important point to keep in mind, today's gospel passage, dear friends. In our lives, we need to look for justice, especially in our families. Whatever is to be shared by all members, and that should be done out of love for our family members and fear of God. When greed enters, sometimes we will be against our own family members, and consequently there will be division, there will be discord, there will be disruption and dysfunction in our family and in ourselves because of wealth. Wealth should not be anyway a matter that divides our families, divides our society. Therefore, dear friends, in a very special way today we will pray for ourselves that the Lord may inspire us, help us to understand this particular passage and the words of Jesus here in this passage very clearly indicated to all of us. Thus it will be for the one who stores up treasures for himself but is not rich in what matters to God. God bless you.